Let's kind of talk about Bo joining the Creed. Let's kind of zoom in on that for a little bit. Where do you think that's going? Like, again, so you think that she's just taken over? Because again, there's a part of me that when this series started and before when we spoke in our preview show, we were kind of speaking about Bo-Katan and Din, and we immediately were like kind of pairing them off like they're going to fight each other early and they're going to be rivals for the entire series. It's not working out that way. And I like them as a team up. I don't know if it's going to necessarily be clean, but I do agree with kind of the end destination. Like, I think she's going to try convert the covert, if that makes sense. Do you think she's going to be successful? Do you think that she's going to restart it and that's going to stack the odds? Because again, one thing that I found interesting about episode 2 was when she wielded the darksaber, like Mando was carrying it like it's a bleeding weight. Do you know what I mean? Whereas she's just like pa-pa-cha, pa-cha. And again, there's not much difference. Like, again, like she hasn't won it in battle. Mando has won it in battle. Technically, he's the holder of it. So, like, he should be able to wield it, but she isn't, in much the same way. Like, if you look at kind of the Elder Wand in Harry Potter, when Voldemort isn't able to because it's technically Snape's, but she is. So maybe that kind of suggests that the lore behind the Darksaber isn't what it's made out to be, but it's about converting the covert. I don't know if she's going to be able to convert them into believing, one, you don't have to win the Darksaber in battle, 2, you don't have to wear a helmet, and 3, I've seen the mythosaur. That's a big sell. Do you think she's going to be successful? How could she even do that?
It's going to be very interesting. I think she's going to want to try and assert her authority over these because she feels she's the rightful ruler of Mandalore. But they're going to look at it in the sense, well, hold on, he has the Darksaber. And not only does he have it, but he won it in battle. She's not going to want to keep the helmet on it either. She may, it might take her a couple of episodes and she will stick around with the covert as it suits her.
Yeah.
But eventually she's going to be like, nah, this isn't for me. Take the fucking helmet off. And that's the way it's going to be. Do I believe, though? I don't think she's going to convert them. I really don't. I don't think she's going to convert them. I think if she was to kind of have a little fight with him and get the Darksaber off him, then the whole thing with the mythosaur, then they may start to see things differently. But I think it's more along the lines of the mythosaur and the Darksaber will be about her gaining her previous followers again, not about this cult, because she has said herself she doesn't really like them. That they followed the old ways of the Mandalorians, whereas we have to grow and we have to change. I actually see more so a fight between her and the armor, which I think would be epic, absolutely epic. Because the armor, she tends to just want to use her tools. She doesn't use anything else. She went after a giant fucking alligator with a hammer. That's what she did. It was like a hammer and a hammer on the tongs. I'm like, for fuck's sake,
not the brightest.
What are you doing? But it's going to be very interesting to see exactly where Bo-Katan and the armor are at the end of it. The armor is essentially the kind of de facto leader of the covert. Bo-Katan doesn't have anybody at the minute. She's a part of this covert now. She's been welcomed in, and I thought it was a very different moment when they were all coming over, kind of patting her on the shoulder. She's like, I'm back amongst my Mandalorians, I'm back amongst them, but I have to play by the rules while I'm here. So I'm going to keep the helmet on. So it's a thing where it's going to be very, very interesting to see exactly where she goes. In terms of the Darksaber, though, a bit more the Darksaber's talked about in Rebels, when Sabine and I can't remember the Mandalorian, was it Gar Saxon or
yes, you're right. Yeah.
So basically, he is kind of teaching her about the Darksaber, and he's like, you have to submit to the Darksaber, and it has to submit to you. It's like a mutual relationship type of thing, and she kind of at the start had the same type of difficulty that Din had with the Darksaber. Like the very first time he used it, which was that episode of Boba Fett, he sliced his leg open. So it's like, for fuck's sake. Whereas she, Bo-Katan she barely picks it up. Wow, Wah. She's going mental with it. You know what I mean? She goes fucking crazy with it.
I
So,
love how we're doing like lightsaber gestures on a largely audio medium. There's gonna be a week in this where we just have a full battle, or we're like, wong, wong, wong.
well, see, the thing is,
People just be listening on their bus, like, what you doing,
yeah.
lads?
Obviously, the thing is, I have the arsenal here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there you go. You'd win.
I have all the
You'd win.
lightsabers here.
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel, you know, he's not meant for the dark saber. You know, he won it by accident. Really, he's not meant for the dark saber.
He
And
Malfoyed it.
exactly.
He has the dark saber like Draco Malfoy was the elder one. It was just
Exactly.
it was a pure fluke. It landed in your hands, and yeah.
I just feel though that by the end of the say this season anyway, because there's going to be more seasons of this. Bo-Katan will be the leader of the Mandalorians again. They will actually go back to Mandalore because clearly the planet's not quite as bad as people make it out to be. It's going to take a long time for it to go back to normal, but you know, they could settle again on Mandalore. You will see the Mandalorians going back there. You'll see that Mythosaur, and I think she'll be the one riding it. I don't think it's going to be him because I just feel him being the leader of a planet or the leader of a people means he has to stay on the planet, which I was like, that's not very adventuresome, is it? And we talked about this in the last episode that we recorded. He is the adventure. And he even says it to Grogu. You ready for another adventure, kid? That's what it has to be. So I see at the end of this show him kind of handing over the reins, as it were, to Bo-Katan. She's going to be the leader again. What happens to the Covert? I don't know. I hope we don't see anything actually bad happen to the Covert.
Yeah.
You know, I want to see, because I found that space battle, the starfighter battle in the last episode was fantastic.
Brilliant.
And I'm like, I hope we see more of the actual Mandalorian fighters, even though they're bigger. They're good. Like, she was great with that ship, and the handbrake turn that she did. I'm like, that was great. That was absolutely amazing. So I hope we see a lot. And then of course we've got the other Mandalorians that kind of deserted her. I hope we see them come back with all, like, whatever tech they have, whether the Mandalorian tech or Imperial tech, doesn't matter. Just blow the shit out of things and come back and go back to Mandalore. Where Din and Grogu go after this, now, we don't know. Is it a thing where he's going to go off and possibly help someone else find a certain Grand Admiral, or we don't know, because this is not it's not the Star Wars universe anymore. This is the Mandoverse. This is exactly what this is. This is the Marvel. This is the Mando cinematic universe. This is what this is. This is the new MCU. And I think, I don't know about getting the second season of Boba Fett. We're definitely going to see more Boba Fett. We're going to see a lot more of Din, because he has so much more to give, and so does Grogu. The sky's the limit for this. It really, really is. So it's very interesting to see. But in terms of Bo-Katan, she's going to get the possibly Darksaber back. She's going to ride the Mythosaur. She's going to bring the Mandalorians back to Mandalore. The Covert may just go back and stay on the moon, where they originally were.
Nah, they're going back to Mandalore. They're
I
resurrecting it.
I hope so.